Right now, children are in danger. They are facing violence, disease.
The sun was just rising over London, casting golden hues across the city skyline, when David Beckham stepped out of the black SUV in front of UNICEF headquarters. Wearing a sharp navy suit and his signature determined expression, he moved with purpose. This wasn't about football or fame. This was about something far greater. Inside the building, the atmosphere buzzed. Staff members whispered and peered from behind computer screens, not just because a global celebrity had arrived, but because they knew what today meant. It was the culmination of months of planning, the launch of Beckham's most ambitious philanthropic mission to date. David greeted UNICEF's executive director, Maria Lorenzetti, warmly. "Are you ready to change the world again?" He smiled. "Let's do it." It all began a year earlier, during a trip to a refugee camp in northern Jordan. Beckham, a longtime UNICEF Goodwill ambassador, had sat with children displaced by conflict, listening to their stories. One boy, 12-year-old Hassan, had caught his attention. Despite losing his family in the war, Hassan clung to a tattered football. "This reminds me I'm still a kid," he told Beckham. "It reminds me I can still dream." Beckham had returned to London with Hassan's story etched into his heart. That night, he and Victoria sat in their living room, watching the footage. "We can do more," Beckham said softly. "Not just give. Not just visit. We need to rally the world." From that seed of inspiration grew an idea, a global fundraising campaign uniting celebrities, athletes, schools, corporations, and ordinary people across continents, under one simple but powerful message: one world, one goal. Beckham's campaign had 3 pillars. Education access for all, ensuring every child, especially those in conflict zones, had the chance to learn. Emergency relief fund, rapid response to disasters, conflict, and displacement. Mental health and play, providing sports and therapy to children suffering from trauma. The goal was ambitious, to raise $500 million over 5 years. "What makes this different," Beckham explained during a TED Talk in Geneva, "is that it's not just about giving. It's about engaging. Every school, every club, every fan can be part of this." The global campaign officially launched in New York City's Central Park, where Beckham stood beside UNICEF representatives, global leaders, and celebrities. "We are one world," he said, addressing a crowd of 50,000. "We have one goal, to ensure no child is left behind." Moments later, massive screens lit up with live feeds from cities around the globe: Rio, Nairobi, Mumbai, Sydney, London. Children played football, draped in UNICEF colors. A stadium in Tokyo hosted a charity match, while school kids in Cape Town held signs that read, "One world, one goal." The energy was electric. Beyoncé performed a special rendition of Halo. Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo made surprise appearances. Even Prince William, a longtime advocate for mental health, joined via video to show his support. Donations poured in, $10 million in the first 24 hours. Weeks after the launch, Beckham visited Sierra Leone, where he met Amina, a 10-year-old girl who had survived Ebola and lost her entire family. She now lived with relatives, attending a school rebuilt with funds from the campaign. "She was the brightest in her class," Beckham said later in an interview with Time. "And she told me, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher, because someone taught me when I had no one." Another trip took him to Bangladesh, where he joined children playing football on a pitch made of dirt and sticks. They didn't know who he was, just a man who loved the game as much as they did. That night, Beckham wrote in his journal, "They have nothing, yet they have joy. We must protect that." Each visit added emotional weight to the mission. Every story fueled more momentum. While David fronted the campaign, Victoria Beckham took on an equally vital role behind the scenes. She organized fashion fundraisers, collaborated with designers to release a UNICEF benefit clothing line, and hosted charity auctions. One gala in Paris raised $12 million in one night. "I've never seen him more passionate," she told Vogue. "This isn't just his campaign. It's our families." Even their children got involved. Harper wrote an illustrated children's book about kindness that sold out in hours. Brooklyn shot a documentary for YouTube titled One World, showcasing stories of hope across the globe. Not everyone was supportive. Critics questioned whether celebrity-led initiatives could lead to real change. Beckham faced tough interviews. One headline read, Can David bend it enough for the world's poor? He didn't shy away. On BBC World News, he addressed the criticism. I'm not a politician. I'm not pretending to have all the answers. But I've got a voice, and I'm using it. And if that brings even one child out of danger, it's worth it. The public rallied. Social media exploded with the hashtag #OneGoal as everyday people shared how they were contributing, from bake sales in Manchester to bikeathons in Mumbai. 6 months in, the campaign reached $100 million. But then a devastating earthquake struck Turkey and Syria, killing thousands and displacing millions. Within 48 hours, Beckham's emergency relief fund had deployed tents, clean water, and mobile classrooms. A viral photo emerged, Beckham holding a baby wrapped in a UNICEF blanket, surrounded by rubble. It became a symbol of the campaign's power to act, not just speak. Global donations surged again. In a powerful speech at the UN, Beckham recounted the experience. I looked into that baby's eyes, and I didn't see despair. I saw determination. That's the spirit of one world, one goal. As the 2026 World Cup approached, Beckham saw an opportunity. Partnering with FIFA, he launched the One Goal Cup, a series of friendly matches in underserved regions, with all proceeds going to the campaign. The final match was hosted in Nairobi, where Beckham's team faced off against a star-studded lineup featuring Didier Drogba, Mia Hamm, Megan Rapinoe, and Thierry Henry. More than 1 billion people watched globally. The event raised $50 million in one night. The winning goal? Scored by Hassan, now 14, the boy who had once clutched a tattered football in a refugee camp. Beckham lifted him into the air as the crowd roared. 2 years into the campaign, Beckham stood on stage at the United Nations General Assembly, surrounded by children from every continent. We've raised over $400 million, he announced. We've rebuilt 300 schools. We've reached over 10 million children. But we're not done. UN Secretary-General Elena Vargas awarded Beckham the Global Humanitarian of the Year medal. This isn't my legacy, Beckham said, tears in his eyes. This is our legacy. Every person who gave, every child who dreamed, every voice that joined us, this is your story. Epilogue. One goal. In a small village in Nepal, a new school opened its doors. On the wall was a quote from David Beckham. Every child deserves to dream, to learn, to play. That's the goal we all share. Outside, children laughed as they kicked a new football across the grass. They didn't know who David Beckham was. But thanks to his mission, they had a future. Would you like this turned into a downloadable PDF or want a second part with more real-world follow-ups or fictional developments, e.g., Beckham joining politics or launching a foundation?